A very good morning to everyone and welcome to today's edition of CSO Leadership Live India. My name is Yogesh Gupta, Director Content and Communities at Foundry India. And I'm happy to lead today's discussion on significance of mobile app security for complex threat landscape in association with a partner, INKA Entworks. Now, we all know organizations today rely heavily on mobile application to expand their scope and achieve better communication with their customers as well as business partners. And what better way than the last 25 months wherein almost everything turned digital and you needed apps to stay connected to your customers, whether it was your services, products, after feedback, social media, and other things. The worldwide digital race has led companies to buy more codes and further supplementing them with other activities. Now, we also know cybersecurity and mobile app security is a concern for CIOs and CISOs globally. In fact, cybersecurity is the number one investment for this year as per 2022 State of the CIO survey, which Foundry has been doing for the last 20 years. This is the first year cybersecurity as number one, toppling data analytics. So we have cybersecurity investments going full steam this year. We have data analytics, and the number three, very surprisingly, gets jumped many places than the last year's survey is enterprise apps, cloud-based. So apps are going to be the new DNA, as we know, cloud-based apps because of the adoption of cloud in the last 24 odd months. So if you combine both the things, you have apps which concerns lots and lots of data about your customers, lots and lots of data which you can use, filter and monetize. And obviously, if you're not protecting that mobile app, so I think you're making a big mistake. But having said that, different surveys across the globe show us mobile app security is not the priority for CIOs as much as for their IT security or cloud security. And why is that? I think our speakers will talk about the importance of mobile app security, especially in today's complex threat landscape. We also saw a number of cyber threats or cyber attacks increasing during the last 2 years because the threat or the vectors have increased multifold because now your employees are not fixed to your office walls or your data center perimeter. They're working from home, they're working from cafes, they're working from anywhere. So the threat landscape or the threat surface becomes more exposed to the hackers, and hackers have taken advantage. As CISOs and CIOs, what do? We do not let the hackers penetrate our organization. We all know the after effects of cyber attack on the company's finance, on the company's reputation, and if you're listed, God forbid. So all said and done, mobile apps is going to be a key priority for CIOs and CISOs. And I'm sure after this webinar, we will understand the significance and importance and why mobile app security should be on the radar of CIOs in the audience. Now, there are numerous threats and challenges, which I already spoke, which make it essential for businesses to choose optimal security solutions. There are many in the market, but again, as CIOs and CISOs, you have to choose the best one, which suits your business. And obviously it costs not that much, which will make your CFO go angry, if I can put it in that perspective. Now, services like RASP, which is runtime application self-protection, also gives users access to a view of the hacking attempts made on their app. So that can be a very important aspect, which I think our speakers will allude to. All said and done, I think cybersecurity, if I can say, is going to be the number one investment, and which we have seen, and it's going to continue for the next year because we see hybrid workforce not going anywhere. Hybrid workforce is going to be a part of each organization going forward globally and Indian. Yes, the percentage will change. You will have more people now returning to office with COVID decreasing, but I think we have all accepted hybrid workforce is the way to go forward. Hybrid workforce equals to more cyber attacks, you like it or not. So it's very important to have your IT infra in place in terms of your cloud security, your app security, your mobile app security, and everything else which is related to security. So security is going to be the key part out of your infrastructure. And importantly, even people are earmarking their budgets for hybrid work technologies and security. That's a new one for everyone in the audience today. On that note, let's find out on the significance of mobile app security for complex threat landscape. That's our webinar. and we have a great lineup of speakers for the day. Let me welcome our keynote speaker, Mathan Babu, who's the CISO at Vodafone Idea, or he's also the Chief Technology Security Officer and Data Protection Officer at Mathan. Good morning, Mathan.
Good morning, Yogesh. Thank you. Morning.
Good morning. Let me also welcome James, who's the founder and CEO at INKA Entworks, joining us all the way from Korea. Good morning. Good afternoon, James.
Hi, Yogesh. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you for having me here to deliver a speech regarding the threat on the mobile application.
Yeah, thank you, James. Also, let me welcome Govindraj, who's the MD for INKA India. Govindraj, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Thanks for inviting here, Yogesh. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Govindraj. And joining Mathan, James, and Govindraj is my co-host for the day, Jem. Hi, Jem.
Hi, Yogesh. Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Our speakers today are going to talk about significance of mobile app security for modern threat landscape. Before we do that, let's do one group photo. So we are going to look at the camera, all the panelists, and smile so that we can say something. I was there at this webinar. So we'll do this very quickly. Jem, can you just stop the PPT? Okay, we are looking at the camera and doing 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and 1, 2, 3 for mobile security we are talking. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, great. Okay, so all good. Let's get started. It's my privilege to introduce Mathan. Everyone in the industry knows, but a brief about Mathan before he starts his keynote speech. If you have any questions, comments for Mathan or James and Govindraj coming up in the short sessions, please do type in the Q&A box and we'll have them answered. Security topic, I'm sure the audience would have a lot of questions at the end of this session. Mathan, as I spoke, he works as Chief Information Security Officer at Vodafone Idea with over 20 years of experience in the field of information security. Mathan was with NPCI as CISO, and he's also worked as CISO at HDFC as Head of Cybersecurity Solutions and Operations. He's also been instrumental in building a robust cybersecurity defense and response for these organizations, NPCI and HDFC, and now he's building it up for Vodafone Idea. On that note, Mathan, the keynote and the floor, as they say, the virtual floor is all yours.
Hey, thanks, Yogesh. I'm just sharing a short presentation. Hope it is visible to all.
Yeah, Mathan, all yours.
Sure. So I primarily wanted to take first and foremost view around the importance of mobile today. The mobile application and the connectivity that it brings back into corporate world, adoption of mobility into the corporate world. While it has been there for long enough, the need around the COVID pushed an advanced level of adoption in the mobile application connecting back to corporate network. We will briefly touch upon the threat landscape around this. Some of the vulnerable apps that have been there in the market now, some of us would have heard about them. So giving a precursor around that and the importance of, while Yogesh briefed about the runtime application security protection, I will touch upon the importance of, for a corporate, the runtime application security protection needs appropriately, right? And then we will move on with the flow appropriately. So broadly, so to date, till prior to the pre-COVID era, mobile devices have been seen as a means mechanism to deliver corporate mail messaging needs. That was the primary need the pre-COVID era saw. But during the COVID and the post-COVID era, what we see today is corporates having exposed both other IT systems beyond mail messaging infra and as well non-IT systems as well, right? So there are non-digitally born companies which have continued to exist in this situation. So such companies, there are pushing needs beyond IT. Say, let's take the pharma, manufacturing, etc., which typically didn't have so way too well digitally enabled systems in their corporates pre-COVID era. Today, we are seeing such systems also exposed over to connect over the mobile. So there is a stronger need and a growing need towards mobile applications that have been built by these corporates, essentially to expose their non-IT systems also over the mobile world. So that brought in what is called as, for the corporate, what it did, obviously a dynamic workforce, being able to connect from anywhere, roaming across network and have the ability to connect from multiple Wi-Fi networks, etc. This, from an attacker standpoint, it gave them a larger ability. The threat landscape actually increased dynamically extremely well. They had the ability now to very easily compromise such devices which possibly adequately did not have appropriate protection levels. And some of these attacks that could very easily be done are by exploiting the mobile side of the vulnerability, right? So using the end users, which are normally conceived as the weakest link in the entire security trail, leveraging them as a catalyst to drive this attack proliferation appropriately, and thereby easily gain access to corporate critical data also. So this is typically what we saw as a shift in dynamics that happened during the COVID and the post-COVID era. A broad view around the overall threat landscape. Some of you might already be aware with the advent of mobile devices. What we saw in Q4 2021, statistics pure play on mobile data, data being generated by the mobile device, keeping aside the tablet itself, contributed to over 50% of the internet traffic. That in itself is humongous. And we are also able to see some of these apps that are prominently available in these corporate web stores or app stores, as would be called, can be easily repackaged appropriately. People have the ability to repackage them, insert malware, and redistribute them appropriately. And these, we have been seen growing tremendously well during the COVID era. And most of these apps that are even way too subjective corporate applications did not have appropriate protection technologies. The bare minimum protection in the mobile world that is seen is code obfuscation, which is not having the ability to reverse engineer your code and alter your code as appropriately to inject malicious code into them. So majority of the apps, well-built apps, even do not follow basic techniques like code obfuscation. And overall, that's an area for us to look out. Like I highlighted, it is easy for people to fall prey to phishing, and that chances become extremely high in the mobile dominant world. So that's a broader threat landscape that we saw over the past year or so. Now, switching our context towards the threats that we can potentially see originating from the mobile, we classify these into broader three groups. We look at risk that is arising from the applications, risk that are arising from the network, which is connecting back to which these devices connect to, and natively within the device in itself. While at least some of these historic apps, historic mobile phones have gone outdated, they still continue to be existent in the market. You still have erstwhile less secured Androids, iPhones. I'm just picking up the names over here. It doesn't qualify whether they are secure, insecure or so, but outdated systems continue to be there. India is a dominant country where we have a lot of people employed as developers ourselves, right? So you would come across majority of us making our earning out of by building mobile applications. So you would normally come across majority of the users' handphones that are put to use being rooted or jailbroken. It is our living. Majority of us are in this space. So we have come across such, also enhancing to the threat landscape overall. On the other side, the network that people connect back to. So India is also one of the countries where the data explosion has happened. And we are the country which today offers data at the lowest cost that is possible. So there is a statistics that states average Indian typically pays less than $2 for GB worth of data that he consumes, which is against possibly in the US, it is roughly around $50 odd or so, right? So that's the difference that we have. So that's largely consumed both by mobile data, free Wi-Fi accesses, etc., that are provided, which also gave chances for such players to do what is called as man-in-the-middle attacks or certificate-based hijacking attacks that have become far more prominent. And the last one is app-based, where you don't have the trustworthy apps downloaded from the rightful app stores. You use them, use from different sources to download, etc. That also is the third way whereby the overall risk portfolio got increased from the mobile front. Typically, this could be handled well if the codes, etc., are rightfully analyzed by performing a static analysis or a dynamic analysis. That's how typically in a code people can identify if the code carries a malware, etc., or not before they get deployed into the mobile device. So overall, three different ways that threat can originate. And some of the vulnerable apps from a lookout perspective, say a UZ browser, there are as many virus cleaner, memory optimizer tools, etc., that are made available to general public, which could potentially make an user fall prey to get him victimized to compromise his device also, right? So these are some of the vulnerable apps that I came across that I thought should put across in this forum. Now, why it is important for a corporate? So let's look at it from a corporate standpoint. At the end, the device is always going to be a vulnerable device, like it or not. The device, given that it is under the user control, what runs in the device is also going to be as per the user's control, right? So as a corporate, you don't come in across to tell the user this is something permitted, not permitted also. So it becomes a load on the corporate to ensure that no matter how vulnerable these devices are, how vulnerable the users are, it is important for the corporate to protect the app of the corporate and as well the corresponding data that gets communicated between the app and the corporate setup in itself. So the responsibility shifts from the mobile device being secured to the corporate to protect the app and the data corresponding to it, right? So that's the core. So going by that, what are the options that are available in front of us? Neither does the runtime, the static analysis or the dynamic analysis of the code that you could do guarantees that the code remains the same as when it moves into the last mile user's standpoint, right? So, some of the primitive steps that a corporate can take technically are simple things like putting in place a wrapper, as what would I want to call it in colloquial terms. Technically, we would want to call it as a RASP, a runtime application self-protection, which essentially works on three principles. It doesn't bother about what device that you run. It doesn't possibly bother about how compromised your device are, but it essentially bothers on how secure will I maintain my own corporate application as. Say, imagine that when I invoke my application, right? And if there is already a keylogger app which is running on the mobile phone, I don't bother whether the user has knowingly, unknowingly installed the keylogger or so. But if there is a keylogger, I will protect my own app from running. I would notify the user telling that there is a keylogger, so I am going to shut my app on my own. Or possibly if there is a screen grabber, right? So if there are apps that are remotely having the ability to take control of your phone, and an attacker is continuing to watch as what you type on your screen or so. So if the app has, if the corporate app has the ability to identify such and kills ourselves on our own to protect the leak from happening, that's yet another example that I can think of how a runtime application self-protection can come in handy. So for a corporate, what it means is I don't bother about how the end user's device or the other applications that run on the end user devices. I at least have the ability to protect the corporate owned app and the associated data, right? So some of the principles that it works, the runtime application self-protection works, are towards, say, protecting the application in itself, also having the ability to detect and notify, right? The React part is to notify back to the user. It notifies the user how he is vulnerable, and also having the ability to block and contain our own corporate application from getting privy into the wrong hands, right? So these are three principal manner how the runtime application self-protection is built. I literally see this as a very, very critical need, given that the hybrid workforce is here to stay, and more and more corporate data will get made available to the mobile or the roaming user portfolio. It is very critically important for us to protect the applications in the most effective manner by leveraging a RASP equivalent technology also. I have seen a majority of the banks have taken already such first steps. While I was in my previous stint, this has become a mandatory criteria to majority of the banks. I have seen some of the banks today taking the first steps forwards to protect consumer-based application. But I see now there is a driving change, largely because corporate applications are also getting exposed. There will obviously be an industry-oriented need to see how RASP can be put to use from protecting corporate applications from getting exposed in the hands of a hacker also. Right? That's some of these benefits that I have already narrated that the RASP can deliver to you. And with that, I would want to conclude my session, go with the flow, and then take the questions as and when it progresses. Thank you.
Thank you, Mathan, so much. A great presentation. Already people are asking on chat if you can share the presentation, so we leave it to you. If you are able to, if you can share, we'll take the consent from you. So that's not an issue. Secondly, if you have any questions for Mathan about what he spoke and what he does not spoke, please put it in the Q&A box. We'll get him very shortly for a Q&A session. I think so. I'm sure you, audience would have many questions around mobile app security and the vulnerabilities he's mentioned about. I think so. The key takeaways which I took from Mathan was vulnerable. The devices will always be vulnerable. The users will always be vulnerable. You like it or not. Very candid confession, but I think so. That's how the market is moving towards, right? So you can as much as protect your device or your user or install the training so that he uses. But cyber attacks or cyber attackers mostly are one step ahead of the CISOs, but we'll change that position after we heard the next presentation with James. So let me welcome James for the next session, and then we'll go into the Q&A. Before that, let's get a quick poll question. Do you have mobile app shielding solution implemented across your mobile apps? This is for the audience. And the options are yes, no, and don't know. Don't know is also an option. You don't know, that's also fair enough. Do you have mobile app shielding solution implemented across your mobile app? So we'll give a few seconds, and then we'll get James, who's joining us from Korea, for the next session, and I'm sure it's going to be interesting. So James and Govindraj are going to do a joint session. James is going to do the first part, and then Govindraj will take over from James. Okay, what do we have today? Okay, it's fairly split, I would say. 41% saying yes and 45% saying no, whereas don't know is 14%. So it's fairly split. It's people have mobile app and people don't have mobile app. So it's fairly 50-50, as they say. On that note, let me welcome James. James is the founder and CEO of INKA Entworks. From 2000, he has worked as a board member of Digital Media Project for standardization of DRM interoperability. His specialties include digital rights management, information security, data protection, software hardening technology. He successfully launched AppSealing.com, which is the world's first cloud mobile game app protection service and enlarging customers from game developers and publishers. James has also initiated world first DRM interoperability spec XIM listed as a standard in TTA. INKA has been providing DRM technologies for more than 16 years and has more than 100 plus customers all around the world. On that note, let me welcome James. Look forward to hear your presentation, James.
Yogesh, thank you for the introduction. Let me share my screen.
Sure.
Well, yeah, regarding the significance of mobile app security for a complex threat landscape, I would start off how the worldwide perceive the threat landscape or the significance of cyber threat. So World Economic Forum, it picked up the every year 10 most like global risks. And this year they picked up cyber security failure as one of them. And this is a short-term global risks. It means that worldwide leadership perceived the cyber security failure is pretty imminent. The risks out of that cybersecurity failure is pretty imminent. So that's why they picked up this as part of top 10 short-term global risks. As you, most of you guys might heard that multiple incident, such as like, the national gas line infra got hacked and the ransom asked. And so it damaged the, millions of people in public sector and private sector both. So nowadays, cybersecurity is just not a matter of like, what if this would happen? This is not the right question to respond to that threat. So when this would happen might be the right question to this near the threat. So let's take a look at the escalator threat landscape. The reason why nowadays the cybersecurity popped up as part of the highest priority, one of the highest priority for business and the public both. Reason is that all of our industry and private life and public sector got connected, and the world is intelligent. It means that if the connection breaks up, then the information or services and workflows that we used to use is not going to work anymore. So, if let's say that if Wi-Fi didn't work, disconnected in your office right away, how do we get connected with each other? And all the information we easily contact might not be available anymore. And so you might have experienced that if any network the malfunction happens, then your PC got down and everybody may just, they don't know what to do. That's me actually. And I'm sure that all of you guys might experience those the situations. So it means that if any threat or incident, cybersecurity incident happened, then hyper-connected world is not going to work anymore. So that's why the threat level escalated. And the third-party breach risks on the rise. In year the SolarWinds and the Kaseya is the world-renowned software, the supply chain software, and as they got hacked, millions of business affected by those supply chain software. So no matter how you prepare properly, and due to the third parties connection with your product or technology or services, whatever, this is going to be huge risks as well. And the other one is highly advanced threat attacks and tactics. We have seen multiple tactics such as double extortion and triple extortion that happened in year 2021, 2022. And I think you might heard of ransomware as a service. This is a new service type that strongly sponsor a ransom attacker. So they do provide a system, procurement system, and collecting the payment and other infrastructure that need to run the ransomware attack being provided by ransomware as a service providers. So that's why the ransom attacker, they do keep focus on the key element part of their technology or tax. They need to make it sharp. And the rest part of the things could be rely on those service providers. And as you know, that the attacks being expanded to personal and business and national infra. And this is one of the reasons that the U.S. federal government, they keep forcing on enforcing the regulation. And one of the other strong reasons that the escalation of this threat is due to the cryptocurrency. This is the pretty attractive method that the hacker is able to monetize the things they worked hard. So cryptocurrency actually fueling hacking business. And there's some stat shows that multiple fold growth of hacking a business due to cryptocurrency. So this is still ongoing, and the regulation enforcement follows due to this kind of escalator threat landscape. But the thing is that regulation designed to protect the business and the people, but at the same time, it brings us a sort of strong risks that the business side hasn't ever experienced before. So there's the two side of the sword, I guess, and like GDPR, and followed by the Brazil General Personal Data Protection Law, LGPD, and California Consumer Private Actor, CCPA, that is currently active. And recently, like the U.S. federal government, as I shared, as their national infra got hacked, they are working hard to combat the ransomware by sanctioning like cryptocurrency exchanges that have like moved money for ransomware actors. And they introduced bills that could require victims to publicly disclose ransom payment. And in March this year, like SEC, they delivered like a new cybersecurity mandate for public companies. It started to regulate that public companies should disclose if any cyber attack incident happened within a couple of business days. And on an annual basis, they should describe its cybersecurity risk management policies and procedures and governance practice, and to what extent board members possess cybersecurity expertise, kind of. So yeah, this is going to be a huge regulation in front of us. And the expert in legal side expect that sooner or later the regulation is going to forbid any paying of the ransom, if any, to get the data back. So this is the expectation of the legal side experts on the regulation. And the cyber war begins to escalate in Russia and Ukraine. This is another phase of the cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is not just business; it's a kind of war. And national to national, they could combat with each other using the cyber force. And as this could damage huge all of the social infra. And even like, every missile systems they controlled by the software and infrastructure, they could get damaged. And then all the physical missile system and the radar system and every single devices that being operated electronically could get stopped. So this is a huge turning point of war. And this sort of like a cyber war is currently happening in Russia and Ukraine. And fraud hacking incident via mobile app highly increasing. 65K like number of fake app discovered, and 26% fraud via mobile app happened, and 46% of organization they like threatened by the malicious mobile app downloaded by one of their employees. So this stat shows that how the cyber threat is near to us. So we could get hacked, or we could get damaged by the cyber's the threat at no time, I guess. And the mobile apps are vulnerable. Before, as you might looked over this kind of stat showing that mobile apps are pretty vulnerable. And what are the real risks if mobile apps are vulnerable? That as you know, that the mobile app could be downloaded for anybody. It could be for your employee, for your customer, for your partner, and for the hackers as well, who is aiming to penetrate into your network or system. So they could analyze the code in the mobile application, and they could like hijack the SSL certificate and server addresses and API keys and even username password and attack the backend. And they could get an access to data, and they lock it up and ask the ransom. So this is one of the scenarios that mostly identified in the world. And at the same time, by the repackaging the app, they could put the malicious code inside of the app and repackaging and distribute to the anonymously, so that the victim could, they could get an SMS and they perceive this message from their bank and install that and install. The thing is that all of the look and service, design, message, all the same with their bank. Reason is that the reverse engineering, they are able to get the code of that, and they could reuse majority part of that. So that's why the this sort of hacking attacks are pretty efficiently working in the real world. And the recent mobile app security incident in 2019, July 1st, 7-Eleven, they released 7 payment app, and actually 900 users account hijacked, and $500K illegal charge made. So the company compensated illegal charge, and they stopped the distributing their payment app anymore. So WhatsApp, as you know, that the Pegasus spyware was one of the spyware well known in India as well. And it happened in 2019, an injection via insecure call function. And so this took over whole mobile phone systems. And so it took around 14 days to get the remedy on the system. And Park Mobile, it happened May 2021, 20 million users, PII leaked, and cross-section lawsuit engaged right after that incident happened. And the mobile app attack vectors, this is a commonly known sort of like reverse engineering and the untrusted Android environment kind of. And so Android or emulator rooted device, multi-user virtual spaces, kind of the things that most of the, sometimes the user or the hacker, they're using to run the application on top of the system. So in the application side, it's very hard to detect what is getting access to their system because it's beyond the Android operating system. And so the tampering attacks are there, and the cheating tools, in-app crack, memory paths, speed hack, macro, packet crafting, key logging, screen leader, kind of. This is hugely like risks on end user and for business as well. And this is data stat that we analyzed within our database as we have like a bunch of customers actively using ours. So majority part of that, the cheating tool, this is because the most of hackers, they could simply get an access to tool-based, and 47%, 2%, and the detour security attack, 14%, and debugging attack, 0.8%. And the second biggest part of the hacking vectors from the rooted device. So root detection and suspicious and environment detection capability must be there. And the repackaged attack as well. So this is the threat scenario on mobile app, rendered by Gartner. And our team did evaluate this, and we confirmed that this scenario working. So there's a Hooray Bank, and they publish their app to the App Store, and this app could get downloaded by the hacker, and they could repackage the app with the malicious code injected, and this code is going to is able to, and the repackaged app could run on top of emulator environment, and the data could get set, and the cryptojacking available, because they could distribute this to the third-party application store and let the people download that application, and this could be a sort of DDoS attack available through that application as well. So cryptojacking is available. This is a highlighted the strat scenario on mobile application, specifically for the banking and finance industry. And how to secure your mobile app then? So there's a 4 steps to secure your mobile app. This is a sort of best practice. The first, like strat modeling and security requirement. And the next step, security development and testing. And app hardening, app tampering, anti-tampering. So this is the 4th step you could consider to be able to harden your application and shield all of the environment data inside of the your application. The first, strat modeling, there's 6 steps. First, identify the asset. What is the asset that need to protect? And outline the architecture of the mobile application, and break down the application to be able to understand the process, what would happen, and when the application calls up specific APIs, and where that the process the strat might be residing, kind of. And so this is going to help to identify the threat and classify, structure the threat, and the rate severity of the threat. And then this is going to be a mobile threat diagram for native mobile app. Once that analysis happened, then you could be able to render this kind of a diagram pretty easily. And this is going to help visualize the process and where the threat would happen. And the security requirement, the reason why we do the threat modeling and is mainly to support the security requirement in the mobile application. Like there's a 4 basic requirement: protect sensitive data and prevent exposure of infrastructure. As you know, the mobile app client always connecting with the backend server. So once either side of get hacked, it means the probability of penetrating, infiltrating into the other part could be increased. And detect fraud, cheating, identification, detection is going to be one of the strong requirements, and compliant with regulations. As the regulation enforcement are growing, like and so this could be one of the business strat as well if we don't comply with that regulations. So we have to check whether all of the design and an architecture of our application could be compliant with the regulations that we have to. And security development testing is the process you gotta keep following up, like perform application security testing, and integrate with DevOps might be a great help to have way more like frequent the application security testing, and do not hard code credentials into the application and minimize that permissions, and protect sensitive data and use certificate pinning. This is very important, prevent like man-in-the-middle attack. And app hardening techniques, like code protection is one of the basic one. As Mathan introduced, that the obfuscation, code obfuscation to the application might be a basic one, and the encryption as well are strongly recommended. And white box cryptography must be there to securely protect the credentials and secret or key of within the application. And certificate pinning, this is a strong requirement that would like to suggest before to prevent like a man-in-the-middle attack. And resource encryption, auto expiry, and standalone keyboard, and removal of task data, and then secure techniques. And anti-tampering techniques, debugger and emulation detection must be there, and privilege escalation, detection, and integrity check, and the device fingerprinting and malware detection. Even though the malware detection mostly as the malware is one of a biggest threat, perceived as biggest threat in cybersecurity area. So detection on malware must be highly prioritized. So if you're looking for like a third-party the application security, then you could consider like a protection, detection, response feature set. And at the same time, I would strongly recommend you to take a look at the risk analysis and incident response capability, like collect and analyze threat data and real-time analysis, whether this could provide like a common device ID that could be used within your the identification of your users as well. And tech data API that could used for collecting the data and get it available within your single dashboard and response via OTA, blacklist, whitelist, update over the air, secure features, and the device unbinding could be the one of a strong requirement that you may look for. And this has been the way that what is the escalated threat landscape and how to secure your application. And I take it over to the Govindraj from now on. Thanks.
Thank you, James. Thank you, James.
Yeah, Govindraj, we can hear you.
Yeah. Let me start my presentation from my side.
Yeah, thank you, James. And before Govindraj starts, if you have any questions, we are already getting 2 questions. After this short presentation by Govindraj, we will take the questions. We are doing fine on time. We have 10 minutes. So any questions from James? I think so. Excellent presentation, James. You covered the entire landscape so beautifully. So thank you for that. Over to you, Govindraj.
Thank you. Thank you, Yogesh. So I think we have got great panelists, Mathan and James. So we have got a pretty insightful information about the threats and major what's happening around the world and what sort of the best practices can do. So I'm here to release the pressure, and I'm here to give a proper information, because most of the people wondering there are so many things and how we can able to handle it. So I'm here to help and understand what the benefit of AppSealing. So AppSealing is world's first no-coding platform where you have to just upload your application. We will wrap it, and wrap it, which means it has multiple layers of security, and we can give that option to choose as per your requirement. Few customers require a few options, and like it's depend on the industries. Gaming industry work differently, O2O financial industry work differently. So we have a pretty good bunch of options to select. So in terms of our solution, we have a runtime RASP. It's runtime self-application protection. It's a no-coding platform, as I shared. In just 3 steps, you can get your application get secured with even data applications, and it work with all the third party with a zero impact performance. So AppSealing is also trusted by G2. We got Cybersecurity Award for 2022, and it has been voted for first application security in the world. Also, we have 800 plus trusted customers around the world, from gaming, from O2O, from telecom companies, from banks. So there are many people, companies work with us. So let me show you how our AppSealing works as a quick demo.
Govindraj, your screen has gone out.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
See now?
Yeah, you have the demo. Yeah. You have the demo built in. It's a file or?
Yeah, can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a demo where anyone can start a free trial, and it has been there with a free trial, and they can just select the application framework. It can be Flutter, React Native, Ionic, Cordova, or anything. They have to just upload the target file. We have versions. Let me select. So here, the versions. So in terms of security, it has been there. It's not just you have created a single SDK or anything. So in terms of the old version, the old way of securing application is SDK. But these days, the go-to-market strategy has been changed. Most of the companies require quick time to market. So this is the way we have created three-step sealing, we call, and we create lots of versions which is updated with latest security threats and hacks. So you can select non-gaming or gaming application. We give option for test and release mode. There will be a DEX encryption. So basically, if you see, there are lots of de-obfuscation tools are available. So we do not use obfuscation as basic. So we are use encryption. So this is a DEX encryption we offer. Then we do have routing, emulators, work profile, micro tools. So we have created 3 different, where dangerous environment, cheating tool. In cheating tools, there are micro tools, packet attack, and keyloggers. So this is, you can opt in as blocker allow. On that basis, you will get the security level. Then add-on feature is data sealing, where you'll get data protection for your hard-coded data, your auth keys or your API keys, and that can be encrypted level. Then there is OTA update, over-the-air update, and then you can just start AppSealing. So within 2 or 3 minutes, you will get a downloaded history here, the application, which you can able to sign in from here and upload to the Play Store. After uploading the Play Store, what will happen? So the beauty of this dashboard is you will get a real-time threat analytics. What is happening with the application? Because as you understand, there is no control when you have published your app in the Play Store. The hacker, the legitimate user can use, or the hacker also use your application, and they try to put or manipulate or create mod APKs, or they can do anything with your application. So as I remember Mathan said, this should be done like if someone has a keylogger application and he has opened an application, so that it should show that dialog box that you are currently using keylogger, and it kill the application. Similar, AppSealing works exactly the same. If the hacker is opening a keylogger application or any sort of cheat tool along with your application, the toast message or dialog box will come that you are currently using this sort of keylogger and you are not authorized to use this application, and the application gets killed. So that sort of test message will understand, and the hacker is also understand there is some security is ongoing. So if you can see here in detail information about hacking attempts, the blocking, daily active devices, MADs. Then we have hacking data streaming, which you will be able to understand the real time from where the attacks are happening. Like if you see, there is on this specific application, attacks are coming from India, Indonesia, China, Korea, then US. So you can able to understand what time, what version, from which country, from which number, what the person is doing, if he is doing repackaging of application, debugging, speed modification, and how many times. So this sort of the data you can get it. And if you wanted to understand from which users is doing it, that you can able to understand from hacking detection, where we are showing the Android ID. See, this Android ID, you can put it in your CMS and you can able to identify the end user information. So from AppSealing point of view, we do not collect any PII. It's fully comply with RBI norms and the local government norms. And you can able to identify from this Android ID to the end user information. So this is the hacking types you will get it. The speed modification, the month wise or day wise. So you can get it all the types and blocks. So in detail information you can get it here. Then how many routing devices are there on active on your application side, or Android minor version hacking types. So if you see, bypassing security modules are 22%. Yeah, speed modification. So these are in detail threat analytics dashboard you can able to see. Yeah. So I'm happy to. We have a pretty limited time slot, so I'm happy to take on questions if you have anything.
Thank you, Govindraj. Thank you for that demo. I think that was very interesting. Let's move to the poll question. And if audience has any questions, we can obviously connect back to your team and they can have detailed demo with you. Let me get in Mathan very quickly. Sorry, we are running out of time, but last 10 questions. Let me get in Mathan very quickly. James on camera, Jem on camera, and let's have very quick poll question. And then we'll go to the questions we are getting for audience. So we'll just do a 10 minutes of that. Sorry for overshooting the time, but I think the security is such a broad topic. It just goes on and on. Okay. What is the biggest challenge with implementing mobile app shielding across your mobile app? In-house implementation, not a top priority for board, cost of resources is expensive, don't have the required expertise. So these are the few options. Let's see what the audience feels about it. Interesting options, relevant options, practical options. We have put in the board. Difficult to convince ROI, TCO to CFO. I think so, extremely important. In-house implementation is too high, is running number one as of now. Okay, we'll give it a stop here in interest of time. Obviously, we can reach out to you. In-house implementation is too high, number one, and others are all number two, 15%. But yeah, all people identify that in-house implementation is too high, cost of resources is expensive, and other options. Okay, let's get into the question and answers. Jem, can you just keep 10 minutes for the question and answers? I know we have a few questions. Let's get started.
Sure, Yogesh. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I'll quickly move on to the question. I have first question to Mathan, and James, please feel free to always add on. The question from Nair, it's about a remote wipe for mobile device when the device is of employee and is used for business use laid out by the corporate. Does corporate or enterprise have the right to wipe it when the equipment is stolen? Mathan and James.
So I think it is a mixed answer. First and foremost, I will try and answer in two prong. One, technically, is it feasible? The answer is yes. Technically, you can do what is called as full wipe and as well what is called a selective wipe. So the choice technically lies with the technical administrator. Does he want to do a selective wipe or a clean wipe? The other side, beyond technology standpoint, from a user standpoint, it is how the user would want to handle the situation. That in a consensus driven manner, the corporate may want to set up a comprehensive lookout from the user. As a corporate, you may want to do only selective wipe, but at user's own discrete, obviously he's also having his own set of personal information on the last device. If the user provides the consent to the corporate, seeking that consent and basis the direction of the user, then the corporate may choose to wipe off the entire device, which we call as technically a clean wipe. So yeah, so when stolen, a situation arise, leave that into the corporate user's hand, ask him to direct back to the IT team to take the corresponding decision. That is more appropriate than having the decision chosen unanimously by the corporate ourselves. Unanimous decision should be to eliminate only the corporate data.
Thank you, Mathan, for that. James, anything to add on to that?
Yeah, it's actually, this is a pretty good question. Bring your own device, trend, spread it out, and most of the employees, they use their own device for using any data or services related to their work at the office. The thing is that if any security incident happen, how to manage this kind of things. So we have seen like a multiple user profile as one of the way that operating system or key manufacturers addressing to this matter. So they could separate the user profile and separately the store and manage the data. Part of that could be for their work, and part of that could be for their private. This is the trend. MDM mostly supposed to manage this sort of requirements strongly. That's why there's a technology out there. But if the company haven't employed any of that sort of things, then they should keep asking the users, their employees, using the separate account in the mobile device. Might be the right measurement for this kind of cases.
Thank you, James, for that. Govindraj, coming to you, what is your India go-to-market as mobile security apps become popular across industries, and what is your value proposition of the solution?
So thank you. Let me answer on this question. So basically, AppSealing, we have when we have launched, we have started with a specific pain point with the gaming industry. So if you see, the gaming industry has lots of pain points in terms of there are lots of cheating is happening on games. There are RMG companies, real money gaming or casual gaming. There are lots of pain points. We started with a specific pain points, and we have understand each vertical, each industry has a different pain points. Financial sector has different pain points. E-commerce has different. Food delivery has a different. And we have created lots of case studies on actual use of the service, and AppSealing comply all the data localization norms as we have server based out of here in Mumbai, and we do have compliance reports from local governments, and we started working with the Indian government also recently. So we do have that sort of flexibility, quick time to response, and we do have local team present in India. So that's a pretty important role to choose any vendor who based out of in the same location. So I would say that's a major pain points customers are handling, and we are here to solve those pain points.
Thank you, Govindraj. I have a last set of questions for Mathan and James. Mathan first, how do you measure the benefit of mobile app security solution? Is it better to build a customized app or work with a vendor app in the marketplace?
I think first and foremost, like I highlighted, the RASP in itself is a wrapper. That's how I look at it as. Most of the security solutions that you choose to buy is going by the presumption that the base coder who is building an app do not have significant knowledge to protect his own app. That's the presumption why security market thrives. If developers build secure applications, even in the general context, you don't need security, right? You self-build a way to well-secured application. The same context applies over in the mobility world as well. So ideally, the assumption is that every developer who builds a mobile app will become erroneous to build an unsecure app, if not a safe and secure app. That cannot be the basis why how corporate may publish that app from an external use standpoint. And the second point is you have in absolute no control of the end device's security posture where this app is running. And if you understand the mobility market dominated by both iOS and Android, this actually gives the security, at least in the Android case, it gives the entire security in the understandability of the user. You would come across apps which are intrusive, and a non-tech savvy user typically may or may not look at how intrusive these apps are, intruding into your corporate applications as well. So you can't leave the decision of securing the app in the hands of the security guy who is building the app itself, or in the hands of the end user. Going by that logic is where a wrapper which conceals and protects your application in itself comes in extremely handy. So in my view, I wouldn't leave it to the hands of the developer to decide. Security has to have standalone existence to cover and conceal appropriately. So it should be in the hands of the security professionals.
Thank you, Mathan. Great insights. James, coming to your last question. Do you think mobile app security is now a priority for CISOs? And is there a difference in the adoption of trend picking up across Asia Pacific versus India?
Yeah, our technology currently is available and being provided across the Asia Pacific, and was in the Europe and the US as well. So Pan Global is the reason that we are providing our technology and services too.
Thank you, James, for that. Thank you, Mathan. Thank you, Govindraj. Thank you, James. It's been great with the Q&A session. Over to you, Yogesh.
Thank you so much. That was a fascinating session. Thank you, Mathan, for your excellent keynote and answering the questions. Thank you, James and Govindraj from INKA. AppSealing is the product they were pitching in today. I think so. There's a lot to be learned from the audience, from the questions. But thank you, audience, for being there, asking some great questions, participating in the polls. And if you have any connections, we can connect you back to the INKA team, or for Mathan. Mathan, people want your presentation. I'll speak to you separately. They loved your presentation, so I'll speak to you separately if we can share it. But great. I think so. The whole point here is we try to figure out the significance of mobile app security for modern threat landscape. As Mathan started his keynote, the threat landscape has changed in the last 2 years. James alluded to a few points out there why mobile security is becoming extremely important. It can't be a list which is 5 or 6 down the line of a CISO or a CIO. I think so. It has to be number 2 or number 3. That's my guess. It could be number 1, but I think the mobile app security, because when I started my conversation, I spoke about how digital first companies are becoming digital first, and for digital first, they have to have an app. To have an app, they have to have security. So it all connects very well. So at the end of the time, we all know why apps are becoming the new norm and why app security is going to be the new norm. And we have people in the industry who are working, making sure they are staying one step ahead of the hackers. On that note, this is Yogesh Gupta signing off from Foundry. Thank you, Mathan, so much. Thank you, James. Thank you, Govindraj. Sorry for being 10 minutes late on the session, but the session was extremely informative. You couldn't stop it. Thank you, Mathan. Thank you, James. And thank you, Govindraj. Thank you, Jem. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks all.
Thank you.